if it can kind of help people, give them tools to sort of talk about how they're feeling more and sort of how they're deal or how to deal with that, kind of like the first movie did. I think that would be the ultimate goal.
John, it is so great to chat with you. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Inside Out 2 is incredible. I'm not kidding. I thought it was easily as good as the first one and may even be better. I was wondering, from your perspective, what in your mind was the greatest challenge of bringing these characters back to the big screen?
The big challenge is just the first movie was very impactful and had a very wide reach culturally, and it kind of provided this language for kids and adults to kind of communicate about emotions they're feeling and what's going on in their head. And I think that put, at least I felt it put pressure on us in the second movie of making sure we were saying, something as deep and something that was as true as sort of the first movie when we're bringing these uh new characters into Riley's headquarters, and the responsibility of that, I think, was the big one.
Well, absolutely. And conversations about mental health have changed a lot since the first one. I think that it was 2015, I think was the last one.
Yeah.
So that's almost 10 years. And now by bringing in anxiety, you've really added something to the emotional context. What was important for you to show about anxiety, and what was can you talk about the complexity of creating her as a person?
Yeah, she was a very complex character, and it took us a long time to kind of find her and sort of find the right balance with that character. We
Mm,
had earlier screenings where people were just like, "This movie is making me feel too anxious," and we
mm,
sort of had to dial back. And it was a lot of work in the writing. It was a lot of work in the boarding of it. And then when Maya came on board and was cast as anxiety, that was kind of when that character really gelled. And the thing is her performance brought so much empathy to that character. That was when she really dialed in. And I think, as far as like the responsibility of what we wanted to say with the character, I think we wanted to get to a place where we could talk about ways of dealing with anxiety, and that,
mm.
it's not about Joy and the others trying to figure out how to get rid of anxiety, because we all know that that's not possible, it's not realistic. And it's sort of like, how can we, in our own sort of weird, animated way, sort of express a way to kind of help deal with anxiety, and sort of how do you live with anxiety. And there are like little bits of it that can help forgetting about tests, and sort of getting you to sort of jump at things that you maybe forgot to do and things like that, but also really finding that balance of making sure that the anxiety doesn't get out of control. So that was kind of all the stuff that we were playing with the character and trying to figure out how to say.
Well, and I thought it was there's an interesting balance in this, and without giving any spoilers, I mean, we see in the trailer she's certainly a bit of an antagonist to Joy.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you consider her a villain.
I don't consider her a villain. I think, one thing we worked really hard on was this idea of anxiety is doing everything she possibly can to help Riley through the situation that she's been put in. And unfortunately, she's just going about it the wrong way because she's anxiety. And so, from anxiety's perspective, she's just trying to help Riley. And I think, some of the best antagonists, or I don't think she's a villain, but any antagonist or villain, that's kind of the best thing, is understanding sort of their side of the argument, and that's kind of her side of it.
Absolutely, and like you said, Maya does such a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Um, Just as we wrap up, I'm wondering what you hope people take away from Inside Out 2.
I hope that they just have a very, you know, they really enjoy the movie, have a fun time. I hope they have a good emotional response to it. And if this movie can kind of help in a way for, especially for anxiety, if it can kind of help people, give them tools to sort of talk about how they're feeling more and sort of how they're deal or how to deal with that, kind of like the first movie did. I think that would be the ultimate goal.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your time. And I'll tell you right now, as someone who has anxiety, this film hit deep. It's really well done. Thank
That's
you so
great.
much for your time, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.